You know, I still remember that day like it was yesterday. A door to our little roadside diner in dusty old Willow Creek, Texas, flew open with a bang that rattled the windows, and in stormed this pack of rough-looking bikers from the Iron Wolves crew, their boots thumping heavy on the creaky floor, leather jackets shining under those harsh fluorescent lights, patches sewn on like badges from a life on the edge. Forks hovered in midair, a guy's coffee mug slipped right out of his hand and shattered, sending shards skittering everywhere, and families started edging toward the exits, whispering, pulling kids close like danger had just walked in. And there I was, Sarah Jenkins, a single mom scraping by on tips, rent looming like a storm cloud, my boy Tommy waiting at home with his homework and an empty fridge of me heart pounding. But damn if I didn't tie my apron a little tighter and step forward anyway. Behind the counter, my boss, Mr. Harlano, he was a piece of work, always obsessed with keeping up appearances in this tight-knit town where rumors spread faster than wildfire. His face went pale, then red, gripping the register like it was his lifeline, and he leaned over, hissing at me through clenched teeth. Don't you dare serve him, Sarah, you hear? They'll scare off every decent customer we've got. Turn this place into a ghost town where he got a reputation to protect, and I ain't letting some road rats ruin it. His eyes were daggers, sharp with that small-town fear. You know the kind, built up from old stories about biker brawls and bad blood with locals over some long-forgotten land dispute where the wolves had clashed with property owners years back, leaving folks like Harlan convinced they were nothing but trouble, out to stir up chaos or worse. But me? I saw tired eyes under those helmets, men soaked from the rain, just looking for a hot meal. I felt that pull in my gut, thinking of Tommy's face if I came home empty-handed again, the cupboards bare, the bills stacking up like accusations. So I ignored Harlan's glare, grabbed my notepad, and walked over, my shoes squeaking on the linoleum, forcing a steady voice as I said, "Afternoon. Folks, what can I get you to start?" They weren't what the room expected, not snarling or slamming fists, just regular guys. One with a salt and pepper beard tapping his mug politely. "Coffee, ma'am, black and hot." And another cracking a grin at the pie case. "That cherry look as good as it smells." I poured, refilled, slipped extra rolls on the table without a word, and they responded with please and thank you. Even a quiet joke about the weather turning nasty out there, small things, but in that tense air. It felt like cracking a window in a stuffy room. Harlan, Thuff, was fuming, yanking me aside mid-shift, his voice low and venomous. "What the hell are you doing? I told you no. Now half the diner's empty. Families bolting like we're under siege. You think this town's gonna forget? These wolves, they've got history here, ran roughshod over folks' land claims back in the day, and now you're welcoming 'em like old friends." His words stung, laced with that personal grudge. Lost a plot of family land in one of those old disputes. Blamed the bikers for stirring up the mess that cost him, and I could see the fear in his eyes, not just for the business, but for his pride, his standing in Willow Creek where everyone knew everyone's business. But I shot back softly. "They're paying customers, Mr. Harlan. Hungry like anyone else. Treating 'em right ain't gonna bring the sky down." He just shook his head, muttering, "You'll see, Sarah, when the regulars stop coming, whispering about how we're biker-friendly. No, it'll be on you." The shift dragged on after they left, engines roaring off into the sunset, leaving generous tips folded under plates, coins clinking deliberately. And Harlan's storm finally hit in the back office, the air thick with grease and old receipts, doors slamming shut as he exploded. "That stunt you pulled? Unbelievable. I gave a direct order, and you waltzed right over it like it was nothing. You chased away good money today, put us all at risk with those wolves. You know their rep, the way they bulldozed through that land fight years ago, leaving families like mine high and dry." His face was beet red, sweat beading, pointing a finger like a weapon, and I stood there, palms sweaty, thinking of Tommy's trusting eyes, the rent notice mocking me from the fridge at home. But I held my ground, voice sharper than I meant. "Risk?" They said. "Thank you. Tipped better than your so-called regulars. If your reputation means turning away folks based on old grudges and patches, maybe it's not worth saving." He barked a laugh, bitter and cutting. "Oh, playing hero now? Fine, but heroes don't pay bills. You're done here, Sarah. 2 weeks' pay. That's it, for defying me, for endangering everything I've built." The envelope he shoved at me felt like lead, thin and final, And as I walked out into the cooling night, shoes slapping pavement, questions hammering how to tell Tommy, how to stretch those bucks, how the right thing could feel so damn wrong, the distant rumble of bikes faded, but the weight on my chest didn't. Home was quiet, too quiet. The hallway light flickering like it knew bad news was coming. Tommy looked up from his books, pencil in hand. "Mom, you're home early. How was work?" I forced a smile, ruffling his hair. "Busy as ever, kiddo," but inside, it twisted, the cereal bowl he'd saved for me going untouched as I rinsed plates to hide the tears, his words hitting hard when he said, "I wrote my essay about you. Momiri, the one who never gives up." God, that ache, deep and raw, as I tucked him in, kissing his forehead, lingering on that soap-scent innocence, then collapsing on the couch, envelope clutched tight, sobs muffled into my hands, the fears crashing in waves, job hunts in a town where word travels fast, Harlan's grudge likely poisoning any reference, the landlord's knock echoing in my mind, Tommy's future slipping like sand. Exhaustion pulled me under eventually, curled up there in the dark, but somewhere out there, engines hummed faintly, not yet loud enough to notice, but building, waiting to shatter the silence. And then morning hit like thunder. The rumble grew, shaking the walls, cups rattling, windows buzzing, and Tommy burst from his room, eyes wide with that kid mix of thrill and worry. "Mom, what's that?" I peeked out, heart slamming, and there it was, our quiet street lined with iron wolves' bikes, chrome gleaming in the sun, exhaust puffing, neighbors peeking from curtains, some stepping out with phones up. Panic hit first, Harlan's warnings screaming in my head, old town feuds flashing, the wolves' rep for pushing back hard against anyone who crossed them. But then the leader dismounted, tall and weathered, Jack's Harlano relation to my boss. Just coincidence that stung, his gray-streaked beard framing eyes that held storms, but also something softer, carrying a bundle of wildflowers tied rough with string, calling out, "Sarah Jenkins, we heard what went down after you served us yesterday, losing your job. For treating us like folks instead of monsters, that ain't right, and we don't forget kindness." My mouth went dry as he approached, neighbors gasping, "They know her," and Tommy tugging my sleeve. "Mom, it's for you." So I stepped onto the porch, air thick with gasoline and dew, taking the flowers with shaky hands, petals bright against the grit. Behind him, riders stepped up, bags of groceries spilling over with fresh produce, milk, bread, boxes of school stuff for Tommy, notebooks and crayons gleaming. And Jax pressed a thick envelope into my palm, heavy with cash, more than months of shifts could bring. "Why?" I whispered, tears blurring, and he met my eyes steady. "Because in that diner, when everyone saw wolves, you saw men gave us dignity, extra bread, a fair shake. And in our world, where folks like your boss hold grudges from old land wars we never started but got dragged into, that matters. We protect our own, and yesterday, you became that." The street buzzed, phones capturing it all, a neighbor wiping eyes, another muttering, "Never saw the wolves like this," and as engines revved in salute, shaking the ground, "Not threat, but honor," Jax nodded. "Stay strong, Sarah, kindness like yours?" It echoes. They peeled away, roar fading, leaving gifts piled high, Tommy's face lit with awe, hugging me tight. "They came for us, Mom." And for the first time in forever, the weight lifted, fierce and real. Word spread like wildfire after that the kid across the street had live-streamed it all. Comments exploding. "Fired for kindness?" "Wolves step up, story of the year." Hashtags flew, "Stand with Sarah," "Wolf surprise," and by afternoon, my phone blew up, news crews outside, reporters quoting Jax's words, "Kindness deserves protection," while folks debated Harlan's fear-driven call, his diner now echoing empty, Yelp reviews tanking with fury like, "Shame on you for punishing decency, boycott this bigot." Offers poured in a cozy cafe downtown, run by a woman who'd lost her own land battle but chose forgiveness, hired me on the spot. "We need more like you. Serrano, fear here, just heart." Tommy beamed at school, sharing his essay, kids calling me a hero, and as weeks rolled, the story hit national waves, talk shows dissecting it. Was Harlan justified in his grudge, protecting his turf from old wounds, or just a coward letting prejudice rule? Churches preached it, schools taught it, strangers sent notes. You reminded us to see the human first. But here's the thing that sticks with me. Even now sitting in that new cafe, apron on, pouring coffee with steady hands, watching Tommy thrive, cupboards full, no more shadows, I wonder, was it all black and white? Harlan, with his scars from those land fights, the wolves' rough edges that scared the town for reasons not entirely wrong, did kindness really win, or just shift the grudge elsewhere? Makes you think about community, right? Those mended fences that still creak under pressure. What do you reckon? Was I right to defy him, or should fear have a say sometimes? Drop a comment below, share your take on justice, grudges, or those times kindness backfired, or boomerang, and hit subscribe if these real-life twists get you. And let's keep the conversation going, because stories like this, they don't end, they echo.